to the Force Always. My name is Diz, aka David Zammit, or the other way around, whatever you like. Anyway, let's get on with the news, views, reviews, and interviews. Here they are. News. Warwick, what's his name? Warwick Davis, who played Wicket the Ewok in Return of the Jedi, who also is a character, and I can't remember the character's name. I'm great with names, my goodness. In the original Harry Potter cinematic series, is actually reprising his exact same role in the Harry Potter made for TV series, which is going to be the same series but for TV, just sort of refreshed as Harry Potter story, the same story that we all know, but a refreshed version of it. Or the characters or the actors from the original Harry Potter won't be there, but he'll be the only one at this stage reprising his exact same role in the TV version adaptation coming maybe next year, I think. Yeah, so Warwick Davis, who played the Wicket the Ewok, the legendary actor in Star Wars. He's played other roles as well in Star Wars. He was also in Solo, a Star Wars story. Anyway, so that's one piece of news. To more news, The Mandalorian and Grogu teaser or trailer or poster. There is no official whereabouts of when this will happen, even though you can see the pirated version, I'd say, on YouTube somewhere. But it's not the official public drop of the teaser or trailer or poster, whatever you want to call it. But apparently during Avatar, that's coming out in December, the new chapter in Avatar will be having a preview in that particular movie. I think personally it's going to be Monday Night Football, NFL. That's American football. I think that will happen before that. That's within the next month or two. That's what I think. A Monday Night Football viewing of the new trailer of Mandalorian Grogu. That's my thought, my opinion. But reports are saying that the actual trailer will come, or teaser will come through the previews of Avatar. Anyway, that is the news for the time around. Let's get into views. And once again, I'm going to actually abort reviews because our favourite guy, Michael from Werribee South, it's a part of Victoria, Melbourne, Australia, Harden area, as I like to always say, he's got multiple questions, which I'm going to bring up in this next segment. So views will be put on hold again because of Michael. Thanks, Michael. But yeah, so views will be aborted this week. Now let's get into interviews, which will be from Michael's questions. He's got so many questions in life, as I've said, and he has many questions within Star Wars. Let's go through the questions that he has requested. So the first question that I can see on the computer, that's why I'm looking down that way. Now he's got this really unusual spelt way of saying powder. What powder is in the lightsaber? Well, it's not a powder, it's a crystal. It's what we would know in the movies of Star Wars as a kyber crystal. It's what gives the actual lightsaber its color and what you connect with in the Star Wars storyline that has you connected to the actual lightsaber. It's called a kyber crystal, and the color is pretty much generated from the actual color of the crystal, and it does connect to you like it's a part of you. Anyway, so that's what is in the actual lightsaber. Yes, this is a fantasy story thing. It's not a real thing. Lightsabers not real. I'd love for them to be real, but they're not. So it's not a powder. It's a crystal, a kyber crystal. A lot of this was explained in the movie Rogue One. If you want to know more about kyber crystals and their goodness and their badness, check out that movie, Rogue One. Anyway, so his next question from Michael from Werribee South is, what is the dark saber? That's a good question. It actually first appeared in a movie form in the Mandalorian season 1 or 2. It's actually a black lightsaber with a white glow on the outside. It was sort of a saber that was used by the bounty hunter people, the Mandalorians, as one of their as a saber, and the only time to actually get to use this lightsaber is if you win it. If you win a battle of a saber fight, and the other person has got that dark saber, then you get to have that dark saber, and that will be yours. The only way it can be taken away from you is if it is used in battle and you will lose it, and the other person will obtain it, and it will be theirs, rightfully so. Which is sort of a bit of a standing point at the moment, because in the latest offering of this Darksaber, the Mandalorian, the actual Mandalorian that we know in The Mandalorian, he's got it. But he doesn't necessarily completely want it. But that's in the story of Star Wars. Let's get into more questions from Michael from Werribee South. The next question is, what do the lightsaber colors represent? Well, the lightsaber colors represent, pretty much purple was decided upon because Mace Windu, the character who was played by Samuel L. Jackson, which is my favourite actor in the world, for many reasons, he just decided to ask George Lucas, can I have a purple lightsaber? And so that's the origin of why that is purple. Green and blue really represent, the Jedi. Green is often used by higher ranked Jedi, but there's no, real official movie understanding that this green is ranked higher than the blue. Just green and blue is of the Jedi. Red is obviously the dark side. Anyone that wields the dark side, especially Sith. And the way it's created red is that somehow the actual person or alien bleeds themselves into the kyber crystal, turning it red because of the anger they have within. It just turns red. This is a fantasy story idea. This is not reality, just to let you know. But they bleed themselves into the kyber crystal with their anger, and it turns red. Now, as I said on yesterday's show, bleeding is not seen in Star Wars because of the reality that George Lucas wanted to keep them PG, which is known in this country, rating PG, so kids could freely see these films. The only film that ever got a high ranking, which in this country is M, for mature audiences, was Revenge of the Sith Episode 3. Anyway, that's the answer to the question of what do the lightsaber colors represent. Now, the next question from Michael from Werribee South is, what makes a good dueling lightsaber? Really, it's not the lightsaber, it's the person who wields it, how good they are as a Jedi or a Sith or whatever background they have. It's really up to the actual user, not the actual saber. All of them are as lethal as each other. Red is not stronger than blue. Blue is not stronger than red. They're just lightsabers. So the next question is, what is the weakest color lightsaber? Well, again, there's no weak color lightsaber. It's just colors that represent their maybe cultural area in Star Wars, or their love or hate in life, and that's it. There's no weak lightsaber. All of them are as lethal as each other. So the next question from Michael from Werribee South is what is a heavy cell? Now, this is a bit of a spelling error because I looked this up and it's something I didn't know either. But it's I think it's hand cell or hand. It's a different. It's one word. It's a handy cell or head cell or so that's what he's meaning. So it's not heavy cell. It's something else. It's actually there's a group of people in Star Wars, called the Techno Union, which is the most weirdest, craziest name that came from a disco culture into Star Wars. But anyway, they have a ship, and it's a holding cell for, I'd say, things. A holding area for, like a storage area for either prisoners or their own stuff. I don't know, but that's what it's really meant. The Techno Union has a big starship. There is like a carrying cell of a storage type like area, which possibly holds prisoners and or things that they may possess. That's what it really. A heavy cell, as Michael was saying, but I think it's called a handy cell as one word. Anyway, so that's to the final question. How does a lightsaber work? Well, in reality, it takes batteries. But in fantasy of the reality in Star Wars, it really takes an engineering from the actual person or alien inserting the crystal, the kyber crystal into the lightsaber, and somehow mechanically it just appears to be a lightsaber. That is the basic form of how does a lightsaber work. Basically, you put the kyber crystal inside the lightsaber that you've created mechanically, and then you either bleed yourself into it with anger and become a Sith Lord or whatever it is, or it becomes blue or green or maybe purple in the future. There's actually a yellow lightsaber too. Yellow, the most famous yellow lightsaber, once again, is by the controversial Rey Skywalker. She wields it at the end of Rise of Skywalker, which is episode 9. And I say controversial because people get really upset with her knowing to be Rey Skywalker. Anyway, that is the questions of the interview this time around. Interviewing Michael like he is a celebrity, but he's from Werribee South, which is on the west side of Melbourne, over the bridge. Anyway, let's get into a review. A review this time around. Speaking of Australia, let me just sip this. I've got a great Revenge of the Sith figure, another one. Now, you may see some of my items with a little bit of dust on it because, I do keep them in pristine condition, but, dust is a pretty intense thing to clean, especially with light figures that could just fly around everywhere. But I do take care of these. And this particular character at the top says sneak preview. This was bought at the beginning of the toy run in when Revenge of the Sith came out, which was the toy run started about 2003. This guy is an Australian, the actual person who played this character. He's found on, I think it was Geonosis, the actual planet Geonosis. And that was a very unusual cave-type planet where the... anyway, it's a long story. He was there, and he's actually played also in the movie Ace Ventura. He was the sort of companion to Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura, maybe the second one as well. He's a bit of a comedic larrikin. In this particular role, he was a very rigid, quietly spoken, alien type character. Look at that. This here is a great figure and great moment in Star Wars because this is just before the crap went down, you could say, in Revenge of the Sith. he was approached by Obi-Wan Kenobi with some questions, and he was asking for his help and things like that. But this says sneak preview, so I'm guessing that this figure itself will be worth a little bit more because it's got sneak preview on it. But I love this character, and I couldn't even depart from this if I wanted to in a way. I think it would be a bit of a heartbreaking moment as well. But this character, I will say, I give the actual thing, say, about 8 out of 10. I do hold it close to my heart, but the character himself, it's an 8 out of 10. But anyway, that is the review for this time around. Now, I also have another episode coming up very shortly. I went to see a movie here in Australia, Melbourne, Australia, a preview to a movie, nothing to do with Star Wars at all, but I'd like to give you my perspective from a Star Wars fan, just myself, my perspective, from movies that don't really contain anything about Star Wars, giving you my rating on that. That will be the next episode. Anyway, until then, my friends, keep rocking.